Hi, so let's assume there are two hosts, host 1 and host 2. So they are nothing but your computers. So now we are going to understand how these two hosts communicate to each other over the internet. So in each host, these are some layers that have a set of defined functions. So for example, your application maybe browser. So browser runs at application layer. Okay, so whatever data is generated by browser, it sends that data to transport layer, and transport layer sends to network layer and to data link layer and then to physical layer. So physical layer then passes this to NIC. This is network interface card that is attached to your host. Now, from this NIC, the data goes over the internet through various routers. These are the routers that lie in the path and reaches to the next host. And similarly, through the NIC attached to the other host, the data enters to your computer. And from the lowest layer, physical layer, it keeps on going to the application layer. Now, similarly, there must be something running, like an application must be running. For example, a server is running at application layer. Okay, so this is how the data is communicated over internet between two hosts. Uh, so now let's see in detail how these layers work. So application layer just generates the data. Okay, this is the data in binary format in zeros and ones. Okay, here the data is generated. Now it sends the data. The application running at application layer, for example browser, sends data to transport layer. Transport layer attaches the port number. Okay, so for example uh, over these hosts, there are applications must be running. So there can be a browser or your Insta or YouTube. These are the different applications that are running on your computer. Okay, so there can be application. So this is your application. Okay, application one. So over a host, application is differentiated by the port number. Our application runs on a specific port. So what transport layer does, it attaches the port number of the source and destination computers. So for example, you send host 1 sends data to the host 2, and there is an application running here also. Okay, application 2, and it is running on port number 443. Okay, and the client, so this is our client host 1, it is running on port number, let's say 8080. So transport layer attaches this port number to the application, to the data that is given by the application layer. So it creates a packet where it attaches the source port number, which is 8080, and the destination port number, which is 443, and these data is put here. Okay, and similarly it forwards this packet to the below layer, which is network layer, and network layer is responsible to add the IP address of the source and the destination. So now on a network, the host is identified by a IP address. Okay, so anything that is connected to the internet is identified by a unique IP address. So for example, this is a network in which your host is lying. Okay, so this host has a IP, unique IP1. And similarly, let's say in another network, your another host is lying, and this host has a special IP called IP2. There can be other hosts also, they have their own IPs. Okay, IP3, IP4, and so on. But this is the source IP, IP1, and this is the destination host IP, IP2. So network layer puts these IPs into the packet that it generates. So here it will put IP1, IP2, and then this whole packet is put here. Okay, so this will contain the port number and the data that is forwarded by the application layer. And now comes the data link layer. It is responsible for adding the MAC address of the host. Okay, so here the host one has a MAC address, and now this MAC address doesn't belong to host, it belongs to the NIC card. Okay, there can be multiple NIC cards attached to a one host. So a host can have multiple MAC address. Okay, so now similarly, now the MAC address of first host and then MAC address of second host, and then this whole packet is put here. Okay, now it sends this to the lowermost layer called physical layer, and it simply converts this data, the bits, these are the bits, to signals that are appropriate for the transmit over the network. So it can be electrical signal, it can be radio waves, it can be optical signals. Okay, so this way now this is the actual data that is being transmitted over the network and received by the target host which is lying in the another network. So that's how the protocol stack works. And in networking terms, this protocol stack, this whole protocol stack, so this whole protocol stack is a special term called TCP IP.